Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Faith and thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about the off-campus casting. If you've seen any of my videos, you probably know that Off-Campus is easily one of my top 3 favorite romance series of all time. Definitely my favorite hockey romance series of all time. The entire Briar universe by Elle Kennedy is just perfection to me. I love it. You can imagine how happy I was when they announced that they're making it into a TV show. I know that some people don't like that. They're like, just let the books be by themselves. As someone who is literally graduating with a degree in film, I love movies. I love TV shows. I love visual media. That being said, I don't think there's a single book to film adaptation that is genuinely 100% true to the book, and I'm gonna be honest, there probably won't ever be, but that is a whole other conversation that I will probably talk about at some point. But for today, we're just going to talk about the casting for this show. So at the time that this will be posted, the casting will have been announced for less than a week. I will not lie, my initial reaction was, oh, they don't really look like the characters are described in the book. I actually think Hannah is perfect. That's almost exactly how I pictured her, actually. Well, that's a lie. I actually need to preface this all by saying, when I'm reading a book, the FMC is always 100% of the time me. I'll read their physical description, but I kind of just, boom, throw that out of my mind because it is me. 100% of the time, she is me. The male main characters as well, I read their description, I take that in, and then just, no. I'll take it into consideration, but typically it's always either my current celebrity crush or a guy that's my type 100% of the time. So back into the casting announcements, Hannah, how I pictured her when I did actually take into account of how it was described in the book, that is very close to how I pictured her. So I think she actually is a really good casting. Garrett as well, that's really close to how I pictured him. And in my opinion, those two are the closest to how they're described in the books. That being said, the biggest controversy with them is that the girl playing Hannah was 17 when they announced that they're making the show. So she is freshly 18 at the moment, and she is graduating high school this year. Now, I don't know 100% if that is true, but the reason that is a problem for a lot of people is because the actor playing Garrett is 27. And looking at pictures of them side by side, he definitely does look older than her. They don't look the same age. And people are upset about this because of Hannah's backstory, and they think it's inappropriate to cast someone who is fresh at 18 with a 27-year-old and have them act out the scenes that are in the book. I completely understand that. I'm just going to say. However, from a filmmaker perspective, intimacy coordinators are becoming very common in the industry. There's probably a 90% chance at least that there will be an intimacy coordinator on that set. I don't think the show has been giving a rating yet, but there is a chance that they cut those spicy scenes or trim them down so they're very minimal. And again, I definitely do understand where people are coming from with their concern over the age of the actors and the nature of Hannah's backstory. However, with the use of an intimacy coordinator, they will make sure that everything is done consensually. If someone's not comfortable, they stop. They can use body doubles. They have things that you can put between your bodies so you're not touching. I definitely do agree that it is slightly a bad taste, but again, assuming that they have an intimacy coordinator, which they most likely will, everything will be 100% consensual. Like I said, I do actually think they're really good fits for the character look-wise, so let's move on to a more controversial person, Logan. Now, admittedly, my first reaction to seeing Logan was he's perfect. That is genuinely really close to how I pictured him while I was reading the book. The only thing that doesn't really match Logan's description is the eyes, at least from what I remember of Logan's description. So again, I actually really do like the casting of Logan. And if you don't believe in this person's ability to act like Logan, go to his Instagram, look at his most recent posts. That man is John Logan. Trust me, guys. Dean's actor was the first one that I was kind of really like, oh, that's not really how I pictured him. I just pictured a brighter blonde, but hair can be dyed, so that's not really that big of a deal. My problem with Dean is not Dean, it's every single one of you who was in Elle Kennedy's comment section of the casting announcement saying he's ugly. You can say all you want, that's not how I pictured him, that's not how I pictured him, but calling him ugly is wrong. And I'm gonna be a lot honest, that says a lot about you and nothing about them. It says that you on the inside are ugly, which is significantly worse. Again, you don't have to agree with this casting decision, but going for their physical appearance in the sense of you're straight up ugly is so wrong of you guys. I'm actually really disappointed in every single person who said that. Also, I find it insanely hilarious that I'd say 80% of the people who were commenting that these actors are ugly don't have profile pictures. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You can't even post a picture of yourself online, but then you feel the need to comment on how other people look. Right, right. I actually, upon further review, I actually disagree with comments that he's not how he's described in the books. He's actually, honestly, again, pretty close to how I pictured him in the books. The only character that is significantly different and you can't even argue for is Tucker, because in the books Tucker is a 6'4" ginger man. This actor is 5'9", definitely not ginger, and he, no offense to this man, I don't think that this man could pull off a ginger wig. So while with the others I think they can do things, wigs, colored contact lenses that will make them look more like they do in the books if they choose to go that route. But Tucker is the only one I feel like you can't argue that for. He's 7 inches shorter than the character is in the book, and Tucker is, if I remember correctly, the tallest of all 4 boys, yet this actor is the shortest by, I want to say 3 inches. Camera angles, you can play with it and make him look taller. I just think it's really interesting that they chose that. The girl who plays Allie, honestly, is also pretty close to the description, minus the hair. I genuinely do hope they dye her hair blonde, just because if you can make it book accurate, I think you should, and that is not that hard, or they could get a wig. Clearly, a ton of people are upset over this casting, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did make Logan wear blue contact lenses, if they dyed Allie's hair blonde, if they even tried to dye Tucker's hair blonde. I would not be surprised at all. As long as those features look good on the actors, I do kind of hope they go that route. Even though I've said a lot over the past couple of days, and I made an entire Instagram post about this, the reason I fell in love with these characters is for their personalities. It's not for how they looked, because at the end of the day, they're just words on a page. And everyone who reads the book, regardless of if we're all reading the exact same description of the character, we're all going to picture that completely differently. So while to me, I can say, oh, that's book accurate, someone else could be like, no, that is not how I pictured him at all. And both of our feelings are valid. But like I said earlier, that doesn't mean you can start calling them ugly. Like, full stop. Y'all need to get control of yourselves, because the only ugly person in that conversation is you. So overall, I am actually pretty happy with the casting. I know I don't speak for everyone, but in my opinion, I would rather have them be able to portray the personalities of the character than look exactly like that character is described. Let's say their audition is between 2 people. One looks exactly like the character, one looks completely different, but the one that looks completely different can absolutely nail the character's personality. It is 100% perfect, but the actor who looks like them doesn't act like this character at all and just can't grasp that. Every single time I would choose the actor who can become that character. You can always use camera angles to change a height. You can put them in wigs. You can dye the hair. You can make them wear colored contact lenses. You can't make them act like the characters. And to me, that is the more important factor. Again, that's just my opinion. You can disagree. You can say that the physical attributes are more important, but I think the personality is more important. And guys, I won't lie, my initial reaction was, oh, this ain't it. I didn't really like it. But then I actually thought about it for more than 5 seconds, and I was like, wait, this is actually really good, because I went to every single actor and actress's Instagram and I was like, wait, they actually do behave kind of like these characters. Again, to me, that's the more important part. Regardless of how you feel about this casting, if you absolutely love it versus if you think it is the worst casting that's ever been done ever, I know I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. Don't call them ugly. That is so beyond rude. And also, I know everyone views physical traits differently, but in my opinion, that's just not true for any of them. They're all very attractive people. And like I said, those comments don't help anybody. If you think you calling them ugly on a public platform is going to get them recast, you're wrong. It won't. When I saw the post, most of the actors had already commented on this post. And when I saw it, I had to scroll very far to get away from hate comments. So I'm assuming when they opened the comments to make a comment themselves, they saw your hate comments. They saw you calling them ugly, which is so wrong of you. They know they've got big shoes to fill. They don't need your, oh my god, you're so ugly comments in their ears, okay? Keep it to yourself. If you don't like the casting and you haven't looked at these people's profiles, I encourage you to do so, because for me, that was the switching point of, oh, I don't really like this, to wait, this is almost perfect. Something that I really like about this cast is that I don't know who any of them are, except for Josh. I don't know how to say his name. Josh Houston. He's not a main actor, but he is playing Justin, who's kind of significant in the first book. With the exception of him, I have no idea who the rest of these people are. I've never seen them in anything. So I do really like that they didn't cast well-known people and they cast more of unknown people. I know that there are some Fourth Wing fans who were hoping Josh would be cast as Xaden. I saw on the Fourth Wing subreddit that a lot of you seem to be discouraged and think he will not be cast anymore because he was cast in this. I would just like to say, him being cast in this does not mean he will not be Xaden. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I don't know why you all think that this means he won't be cast. On this post in the subreddit, admittedly, I think there were literally only 2 people who had actually read Off Campus and understood that his character is not a main character in the show. To the Fourth Wing fans, if you're still holding out hope that he will be cast in Fourth Wing, don't lose hope, because this does not mean that he will not be cast in that show. And lastly, again, to the people who feel the need to just call these actors ugly as their excuse for why they shouldn't be cast in the show, I'm gonna repeat exactly what I said on my reel that I posted on Instagram the other day. Self-reflect. Who does this comment help? The answer is nobody. It just makes you look bad. Stop putting your insecurities onto other people. It's pathetic. Grow up. Stop being so hateful. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's as simple as that. I love these books so much. I hope that the actors do very well. I am choosing to trust the casting director, trust the producers, trust everybody who's working on the show. I hope that they do great. Unlike most people now that the casting has come out, I don't want the series to fail. I want it to be a hit. I want it to be really good. And I'm holding out hope that it will be. And if you don't like the casting, I'm so sorry, but there's absolutely no need to be as hateful as most of y'all are being. With that, that is all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video and follow my Instagram for more bookish content. Congratulations to all the fellow college graduates out there. I wish you guys the best. Happy start of summer / almost start of summer for a lot of you. I hope you all have a fantastic week, a fantastic summer. Love you guys. Bye.